Rebalancing the body with the three primary rays. This meditation serves all the bodies, but it is especially effective at the level of the emotional body. The rays, as you may remember, are living energies that reflect pure cosmic qualities. They are known as the qualities of God, and they are the constituent ingredients for all creation. Light emanates as beams or rays, but when it reaches the surface of Earth's physical density and acts upon matter itself, it becomes an etheric flame, such as the violet flame you are already familiar with. At the heart of being and creation in general, in the form of the three primary flames, is the spark of spirit and the seed of power for every activity. Within the physical form, at the heart chakra, is a miniature reproduction of this triune activity of sacred fire. This sacred fire is an etheric phenomenon that can be easily sensed and readily approached to charge, heal, and balance yourself, strengthen your aura, and irradiate qualities of perfection to everyone around. In the remote past, at a time when the physical density of the human body was less dense, this triune flame was much larger and surrounded the body. With the densification of frequencies in modern times, the flame has shrunk to a much smaller size at the center of the heart. The following meditation expands the flame back to its original size and brings about the harmony that is yours as a being of light. The meditation. Sit down in a quiet, safe environment. Bring yourself to a state of physical, mental, and emotional stillness through the alignment induced in the master practice. Visualize and sense a small flame within the center of your chest. Feel the activity of this energetic focus of inner light and allow your whole attention to dwell within it. Go inside it. Notice that at the very center of this brilliant core is a threefold flame. See it through the power of imagination. Activate it. The first color that strikes you is the bright yellow-golden color of the central flame. Be in this. Feel it. The left flame is a deep pink with a magenta-colored center. Let your heart be embraced by that pink flame and amplify it. The right flame is a pale blue with electric blue ribbons running through it. Now let your heart be embraced by the blue flame and expand it also. Be with this three-tongued flame and notice it intertwine within itself, forming one magnificent flame. Become aware of a crystal sphere that seems to enfold the flame and cause it to give off a glow of multicolored pastel light. Now, as you focus within that flame, sense and see it grow brighter and brighter and expand larger and larger. Continue this process until the flame completely surrounds your body and your aura. Remain with this threefold flame and allow it to bring peace and balance to every part of you. When you are ready to return to the ordinary world, enclose the flame into its usual size through deliberate, calm, centered breathing and visualization. Hold and keep it inside you as you would a secret treasure. Take more deep breaths and ground yourself. Allow gratitude for this light in acknowledgement of your own essence, your God self. Having felt the magnitude of this power, permit yourself to bow in humble reverence. Conclusions. Emotions originate within you and flow out into the atmosphere. People's individual emotional patterns are as varied as snowflakes. They reflect how finely attuned you are to yourself as spirit and consequently how you treat the environment and others. Have you examined your behavior from a physical point of view? Do you take the time to feel your body from within? I do not mean the tension and stress of athletic performance. I mean the gentle stirring of the breath inside you, the way your stomach feels when you overeat, or the way your body feels when you drug it with alcohol, tobacco, and other poisons. Feeling yourself feeling. What intentionality do you operate under when you are in close proximity to other bodies? Do you use or exploit situations, or are you sensitive to the majesty of life within? As a third-dimensional being, you exist within an ocean of energy waves that continually animate recurrent thought forms. Within this reality, you have the powers to direct and recreate energy and substance through the conscious application of the law of light, or by allowing habits of unconsciousness to continue. The law works whether you avail yourself of it or not. In consciousness, you create positive forms. In unconsciousness, you perpetuate misery, lack, and limitation, disease, and strife. Either way, you are the creator. Inner alchemy advocates the deliberate and conscious application of the precepts of light into ordinary daily life, beginning with your intimate life. Emotional life sets the foundation for everything that happens upon the planet and affects all bodies. For this reason, it is necessary to understand not only the principles underlying the unconscious mechanisms of the emotional body, but also how to apply them constructively. I cannot emphasize enough the tremendous power of the feeling faculty, especially as it applies to the projection of energy. Look at your moment-to-moment actions, thoughts, and emotions to see the prevalence of automatic, instinctual behavior patterns. Fear is the seed feeling for all negativity, including the anger and violence that cloud our times. People are constantly gossiping in the name of conversation. They give away their power through a misguided sense of loving and sharing. When people behold one another, they do so with greed and lust, possessiveness, jealousy, and exploitation, instead of as unique beings of light and love and spiritual power. When faced with injustice, they often retaliate belligerently with more injustice. In an era where so much lip service is paid to the virtues of surrender and turning the other cheek, peace and brotherhood, people misconstrue the messages by giving away more power to newer forms of political and religious authority. Here and there, friends of the light are emerging. These are individuals who are embodying the teachings of light, who hold to the vision of light, who with great courage, gently but with unyielding firmness, hold the torch, lighting the world. Look for them. But I also warn you, these are deceptive times. Things are not what they appear to be. You will know and see the real only when you know and see your own self as it is and as you have shaped it to be. There are no teachers or guides, and there is no teaching. There is only you in your wholeness. When you rejoice in fullness, you arrive home and everywhere at the same time. Only then you see others in the same light. Only then do you know the real meaning of power, the power of light. The power of thought. Thought is the primary impulse of being human, collecting sensations and feelings and putting them in context. The power of thought goes hand in hand with the power of feeling. There cannot be one without the other, be it expressed or latent. Whenever there is feeling, there is an image, a trigger, or a purpose behind it. A thought or idea occurs when an image or a series of images are created. Thoughts convey meaning when images strike a responsive chord in a person, who then responds to the images. This combination of image plus feeling leads to action and therefore a creation. Thoughts are intention encapsulated into form. They encapsulate meaning. A thought is tangible. Clairvoyants and psychics know this well, as do parapsychologists who research extrasensory perception and telepathy. Governments know it too when they apply astral propaganda and psychotronic warfare, psychic faculties to obtain information. The media industry knows it also when they create images, jingles, and emotions that linger in the minds and feelings of the public. Thoughts are used without awareness. They are a tangible reality. They create negative, confusing imprints and massive traffic jams in the ethers. They pollute our atmosphere even without being voiced. They hold your own secrets, even from yourself. We live in a world filled with double and triple meanings. The words say one thing, feeling conveys another, whereas the mind concocts yet another reality. Thought forms are composed of elements of the three lower bodies: physical, emotional, and mental. Each person is surrounded by them, some stronger than others. Thought forms are formed of mental substance. Once an image is qualified by feeling, it is powered by vital energy. They surround the aura of an individual until the person stops giving energy to them. A thought form is held as long as an emotion animates it. Neutrality weakens a thought form. The mental body is the field within which thoughts are stored. The field, frequency, and manner of the mental body is linear, and, in the case of the concrete lower mind, it is arrow-like. The frequency of the mental body is the same frequency of its component thoughts. When directed at another, thoughts can vary from acting as pellets launched at a target to heavy-duty ammunition. Intelligence has thinking expressed at the level of the lower mental body, which is the level of detail, reflects the laws of matter. There is a regularity to it. It is definable. It can be defined by rules. It can be learned by rote. It demands neither flexibility nor spontaneity. The mind molds blueprints through visualization. The lower mind and the higher mind operate on different levels. The lower mind uses the dynamics of the solar plexus and deals with outer reality. The higher mind uses the throat and third eye functions, although its primary source is the intelligence that lies within the heart. It deals with inner experience and with the aspects that bridge the inner world with the outer world. The upper chakras respond to finer frequencies. The lower chakras express lower frequencies of the thinking mind. All human powers are associated with and serve themselves through different chakra frequencies for manifestation at lower and higher ranges. Thought as power is handled at both the upper and lower levels of being. At one level, ordinary thinking; at another, the creative idea. Feeling, both emotion and sentiment, is what colors thought, and its emission arises from the second chakra and also from the fourth, the heart. Feeling reverberates in the body tissue, stirring up substance and thus producing the energy that manifests as emotion. When this energy emanates at the highest level through the heart, it mobilizes higher feeling, or what I often call sentiment. Consider the experience of feeling associated with the second chakra, which deals with all types of energy exchanges between subject and object. It establishes relationships that reflect your emotional response or attitudes regarding the world and other people. This creates the subtle feedback that becomes like and dislike, opinions, and even judgments. The second chakra is responsible for coloring our exchange with the world at large. Emotional activity at the level of the second chakra conditions matter by coloring it with your personal experience as interpretation. In this sense, the second chakra manages or alters physical substance. Each human power may express itself through one or all of the chakras and is not limited to any particular chakra. The lower mind. For the purpose of simplification, I will speak about the lower mind as if it were an entity of its own, although lower mind is merely one way in which mind is used when directed by individual or personal will in daily life. The lower mind receives ideas from spirit, interprets them according to its personal need or preference, and implements them through a rational approach. This linear thinking is the neutral way of third-dimensional life, where mind deals with detail. The vision or understanding revealed through the lower mind functions solely from the perspective of the polarized physical world. Perception is divided into categories and pairs, which is the mind's way of comprehending duality. The mind erects systems upon these divisions, concepts of good or evil, right or wrong, with perception becoming narrow and one-sided. The hidden files of the lower mind are those thoughts and memories that do not serve in its immediate purposes, or that threaten to sabotage its immediate plans. This is how the subconscious aspect comes to be. These hidden portions of the lower mind are effectively disconnected from the whole organ, but are highly charged with instinctual emotional force, or libido. When consciously connected to feeling, these thoughts could prove dangerous, even life-threatening. Thoughts that are considered bad are stuffed into the subconscious. Those thoughts that are considered good, which, rather than originating from the higher mental body, come from culture, are relegated to the superconscious. At the subplanes of the lower mind, there are thoughts of domination and possessiveness, cruelty and sadism. At the higher subplanes of the lower mind, there are thoughts of beauty, art, music, and science. As such, lower mind feels conscious, subconscious, and superconscious aspects of the mind. Understand that the mind, with the arrogance typical of the ego at the level of the lower mental body, will think it has experienced, will think it has forgiven, and will proceed to act as if, to perpetuate the deceit that serves to confuse itself and humanity. This occurs through lack of sensitive discernment of the environment. We will never come to understand the real workings of the mind unless, in deep humility, we understand reality beyond the scope of automatism of the lower mind. In order to reinstate the power of that highest, fullest aspect of self, we need to recognize the lower as a tool for higher and greater force. The lower mind can be a wonderful servant, although too often an arrogant boss, who, left to itself, sits in judgment and exploitation. Stop for a moment and consider your attitudes and beliefs. Be especially honest about your prejudices and inclinations. Contrast what you think with what you feel in areas which you consider yourself weak or excessive. A way to assess whether you are sending out double messages is to see how the world around you responds to your needs. Once you have understood the nature of your needs, are you manifesting them? Look at the reality of your immediate world. Does it fit with your ideas? How often do you act on what you wish for? Is this authentic, or does it reflect what you think you ought to do? Not only do your three lower bodies or aspects need to be integrated and harmonized, you need to blend the energy at each level and manifest that integrity through physical action. Integrity shows up in your deeds and in a feeling of synchronicity with living things, not just in thoughts, however lofty they may be. Only then do you tap into the resources of the higher mind. The higher mind. The individual expressing themselves through the higher mind uses the faculties of the emotionally integrated lower mind. What at the one level appears as judgment, at another is discernment. What appears as arrogance on the higher levels could be termed honor, integrity, and fearlessness. The inspirational activity of the higher mind reveals itself in thoughts of peace, brotherhood, and goodwill. At this level, the whole is considered over the individual will. The language of the higher mind is primarily symbolic and abstract, embracing beyond personal consideration. Higher mind perceives beyond the rational. The student of inner alchemy must distinguish their mental faculty from mass mind and integrate the lessons of the emotions. At this higher level, the lower mind and the emotions move in harmony. The brain capacity expands to both right and left hemispheres, activating perception beyond duality. Whole brain thinking is the faculty of the higher mind. When the whole brain function is arrived at naturally, an entirely different state of being emerges, which is qualitatively loving. The higher mental body is the result of an awakened heart. The direction of the individual's life, their energy, and their attention aligns with the level of the sixth or causal body, the repository of all good achieved throughout the soul's lifetimes. The higher mind is the true intelligence of the heart. It is the realm of intuition and the knowing that proceeds from accumulated inner experience. At the level of the higher mind, the feeling nature within someone's heart has been refined from the heat of passionate intensity into the warmth of compassion and is ready to serve. The actions of higher mind are inspired by compassion, love, understanding, and forgiveness. The higher mind continues to avail itself of the mechanism of the lower mind, giving go or no-go decisions, but it does so objectively and impersonally. Its vantage point not only brings about the revelation of the individual's divine plan for life, but every possibility of fulfillment. The higher mind is in partnership with the soul. The partnership will be as strong as the consciousness poised at finer dimensions of light. In the Inner Alchemy School, we aim to coexist in conscious and close proximity to the higher self, gaining access to creative ideas, forces, and powers that enable us to rebuild the personality, the world, and the planet. Mind, tempered by purified feeling, turns self-indulgent reasoning into reciprocity and a greater vision of the whole. Mental activity is reduced, but its frequency is accelerated, creating pockets of silence that attract far greater and higher thought forms. This also brings in the regenerative force from spirit. This is the silence sought and achieved through meditation. Just as we create thought forms, as too do spiritual beings who release them as aids to humanity. You can catch these aids through silence. Clarity is a virtue of silence, and ultimate clarity is the experience of the highest frequencies, known as the emptiness of the void or the infinite all. In that overwhelming and humbling realization, you come to know that I am. Mind energetics, methods of energy dynamics. As in the pair exercise at the end of the section on the power of feeling, see pages 119, 121, the following exercises demand your full participation and the commitment to explore, uninhibitedly, the energies within thought forms, which are usually subliminal. The 3 practices outlined below resemble the previous exploration of emotions, with the difference that here, emotions are clearly propelled by thought,